Hello there, welcome to the Sleepy Knowledge Channel. Tonight, you rest beneath the quiet hum of your own mind. The world outside has softened. Streetlights flicker in the distance, and your breath begins to slow. You are no longer chasing thoughts. You are simply watching them drift. Each exhale feels like a small surrender, a letting go of the day, a gentle fall inward. Somewhere behind your eyelids, the most mysterious organ in the universe begins to whisper. You imagine your brain as a dimly lit cathedral of light. Billions of cells, each one alive with a spark older than memory. Neurons hum like distant stars, sending silent messages through glowing pathways. Every thought, every image, every flicker of feeling, all of it is made of these tiny, whispering lights. You are a galaxy contained in silence, and yet, the galaxy moves with meaning. As you rest, the noise of the day fades into a soft background hum. The brain remains awake in its own way, tending to the body like a quiet caretaker. It balances warmth, repairs, energy, dreams. Even when you sleep, it never truly stops. It is both the musician and the melody, shaping the rhythm of your night. You can almost feel it now. The faint pulse of electricity beneath your skull. It hums in gentle waves, not loud enough to notice in the day. But at night, you can sense its glow. Each pulse carries a thought, a memory, a moment of being. It feels almost like the tide, coming and going, steady, eternal. The ocean of your mind washing through you. You imagine yourself drifting through that ocean, floating on waves of thought. Some waves are bright and clear, memories of laughter, sunlight, familiar voices. Others are darker, deep and slow, made of feelings you cannot name. The brain stores them all, never judging, never discarding, simply weaving them into the endless pattern of you. In that pattern lies everything you are. The shape of your memories, the rhythm of your emotions, the soft voice that tells you stories as you fall asleep. Each part of you is held inside this whispering organ, not in words, but in light. The neurons do not speak language, they speak electricity. And in that electricity, they form the poetry of thought. Imagine traveling through it, through the folds and valleys of your own mind. The surface looks like a landscape of mountains, curved and coiled, full of hidden valleys. Scientists call it the cerebral cortex, but to you tonight, it feels more like terrain from a dream. Endless ridges of thought, glimmering under starlight. You wander through them, unhurried, feeling your own consciousness echo softly around you. In one corner, deep beneath the folds, lies the thalamus, the gatekeeper of sensation. It filters what enters your awareness, like a guardian at the door of the waking world. When you sleep, the gate closes slowly, letting only the faintest whispers through. That's why the world feels so distant at night, because your brain has drawn its curtains. Deeper still, near the heart of it all, rests the hippocampus. Shaped like a seahorse, it gently gathers memories, tucking them away into long-term rest. Tonight, as your body relaxes, it quietly replays the day, deciding what to keep, what to forget. Each replay is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, painted while you dream. You feel a soft gratitude for this hidden intelligence, for this quiet work happening beneath the surface. You do not have to command it, or think about it, or even understand it. The brain knows how to heal itself. It is both the night gardener and the soil, tending to thoughts, pruning away stress, watering calm with gentle waves of chemistry. As the room grows darker, the rhythms of your brain begin to slow. Neurons that once sparked in restless conversation now fall quiet, their messages less urgent. Waves of delta and theta begin to flow, washing the mind in slow motion. It feels like floating down a lazy river, the kind that carries you without effort. You drift along it, deeper and deeper into a quiet that feels infinite. Somewhere along the way, you sense the faint glow of the brainstem, the ancient part of your mind that never sleeps. It keeps your heart steady, your breath smooth, your temperature safe. It has done so since before you could think, before you knew your name, before you were even you. It hums softly in the background, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. And then there is the cerebellum, small, folded, elegant. It balances movement, rhythm, grace. Even as you sleep, it fine-tunes the body's quiet motion, the rise and fall of your chest, the way your eyes twitch beneath closed lids. A dance of muscle and mind, too subtle to notice, too perfect to need correction. You begin to feel as if you are not lying in a bed at all. You are floating inside the cosmos of your own skull, a world made of light, electricity, and ancient intelligence. Every flicker of thought is a starburst, every slow breath a galaxy turning. You are both observer and participant, both dreamer and dream. You think of how small the brain is, only about 3 pounds, yet it holds universes. All your memories, your fears, your laughter, your sense of time, your imagination. It can recall the scent of rain, the sound of your own name, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. It builds entire worlds from nothing but chemistry and silence. It is the ultimate illusionist showing you yourself. And yet, for all its complexity, it asks nothing of you now. Only rest, only trust. The neurons will continue their endless, quiet work, adjusting, remembering, rewiring. The synapses will hum like tiny engines of life. You need only float and let the whispering organ of night do what it was born to do. The more you listen, the softer it becomes. The signals stretch into slow pulses. The thoughts begin to blur. Even your awareness starts to dissolve at the edges, fading into something warm and wordless. The mind, once full of chatter, now feels like a still pond reflecting nothing but the faint shimmer of the moon. You might notice, faintly, the sense of drifting, not upward or downward, but inward, into the space behind thought, where language stops, into the soft machinery of dreams. Here neurons continue to glow, but their messages become art, symbols, stories. Echoes of the day transformed into starlit nonsense. This is where sleep begins to bloom. You rest inside the quiet hum. Your body is heavy now, but your mind feels light, weightless, and infinite. Somewhere far away, the whispering organ continues to sing its slow electric lullaby. Each wave slower than the last, each spark dimmer, softer, safer, until even the thought of listening begins to fade, replaced by the warmth of drifting thought. You imagine your brain as a vast sky, stretching endlessly inside your head. In that inner universe, countless tiny stars flicker, each one a neuron. They do not shine with light, but with electricity, invisible to your eyes yet radiant in their own silent way. Every second, billions of them pulse and fire, whispering to one another across the dark spaces between. It is a quiet storm of energy, unfolding inside you without your awareness. You drift deeper into the thought that your mind is a night sky filled with life. Each neuron a luminous point, small and fragile, yet capable of holding entire worlds of thought. Some of these neurons light up when you remember a melody. Others flicker when you imagine the face of someone you love. They are the smallest storytellers in existence, speaking in sparks instead of words. The language they speak is older than any human voice, the language of life itself. You picture one neuron now, floating in the quiet dark. It is shaped like a small branching tree, with arms stretching toward the unknown. At the tips of those arms, more neurons reach back. Between them, gaps as thin as mist, synapses, where messages leap like shooting stars. Electricity travels through those tiny spaces, carrying fragments of thought and feeling. Each spark is a connection, a bond, a silent bridge across the cosmic distance within. You can almost see it. A flicker, then another, then millions more, lighting up in waves. They pulse like constellations, shimmering across the hidden landscape of your mind. The pattern is never still. It shifts and flows, like clouds moving through moonlight. Every flicker is both cause and effect, memory and motion, a dance that never ends. You realize that what you call you is not one thing, but the harmony of countless stars in motion. As you breathe, you imagine the soft rhythm of those neural lights. They pulse in time with your heartbeat, glowing faintly in the quiet. Oxygen travels through your blood to feed them, invisible nourishment for invisible light. Without that rhythm, the stars would dim, and thought would fall silent. But for now, they shimmer steadily, like lanterns in a gentle wind. You are both the watcher and the sky itself. Neurons are not identical. Some are small and quick, others long and winding, reaching across great distances in your brain. They form networks, tiny cities of thought, communicating at the speed of lightning. Every feeling, every image, every scent you remember is a pattern within that city. A billion connections humming together in perfect timing. It is a quiet miracle that never pauses, not even in sleep. You picture the sensory neurons, the ones that feel the world for you. They reach out like antennae, gathering the whispers of touch, sound, and light. When you close your eyes, they rest, but they never fully stop. They still sense the faint hum of your own heartbeat, the coolness of air on your skin. Even in stillness, the body speaks to the brain in soft, rhythmic signals. You are a living conversation, even in silence. Then you imagine the motor neurons, the movers, the dancers, the silent conductors of motion. They live in long, elegant threads that travel through your body, carrying instructions from your mind. When you smile, when your chest rises with breath, when your hand drifts over a blanket, they are there unseen, precise, graceful. They work together like a symphony of invisible strings, tuning your body to the soft tempo of being alive. There are others too. Interneurons, the thinkers between thoughts. They connect, interpret, and translate the electrical whispers between distant cells. They are like storytellers sitting at the center of a web, weaving meaning from sparks. Without them, the symphony would lose its rhythm. The light would lose its pattern. But they never rest. Even in dreams, they continue their endless dance, shaping the texture of your imagination. You drift deeper into that glowing world. You see rivers of light, flowing through pathways of gray matter, branching like trees in an endless forest. Each branch splits into thousands more, creating infinite possibilities of thought. Somewhere among them lies a memory you've forgotten, waiting quietly in the dark. Somewhere else, a new idea forms, delicate and bright, like the first spark of dawn. The neurons do not know they are making consciousness. They only follow their nature, to connect, to fire, to glow. Yet together, they create something greater than the sum of their sparks. They build your dreams, your stories, your sense of self. From their tiny electrical murmurs arises something infinite: awareness, imagination, the music of thought. It is the universe learning to look back at itself. You imagine floating closer now, deeper into the brain's electric ocean. The glow becomes brighter, filling your vision with gold and silver flashes. Every spark hums with information: the memory of a voice, the taste of water, the warmth of sunlight. It all moves too fast to follow, yet somehow it feels calm. The neurons know their rhythm, and you, without effort, are part of it. It feels like standing in a forest during a gentle rain. Each droplet falls somewhere far away, yet together they form a tranquil sound. The neurons, like raindrops, fall in patterns, tiny impulses adding up to great waves. Those waves ripple through the folds of your mind, turning into motion, memory, meaning. You feel their quiet coordination, their patient intelligence. They have been doing this since long before you were born. And still, there is mystery. No scientist, no philosopher, no poet has truly captured how this light becomes thought. How the silence of cells becomes a voice, a vision, a dream. You think of it now, that your entire world exists because these tiny stars decided to glow together. They built the stage on which every emotion plays. They are the unseen storytellers of your nights and days. You let the image drift further into abstraction. The neurons become fireflies now, hovering in a field of darkness. They blink in slow rhythm, moving in waves of golden light. You are among them, walking barefoot through the glow. The air is still. The world is quiet. And you can feel your thoughts dissolving, joining their light. The deeper you go, the softer everything becomes. The signals blur, the edges fade. You feel less like a person, more like a current in the electric sea. The neurons continue their endless whisper, but you no longer need to listen. Their language flows through you instead, wordless, gentle, familiar. You realize you have never truly been separate from them. You are their story, the pattern they create, the dream they sustain. When they rest, you rest. When they glow, you feel. They are your quiet companions, your silent stars, your endless inner sky. And as their rhythm slows, you too drift slower, lighter, calmer. The night outside mirrors the one within, both vast, both filled with hidden light. Somewhere between the two, you float, softly, effortlessly, while billions of neurons continue to shine. Their glow carries you further inward, into the quiet center of your own mind, where everything fades into light and then into silence. You imagine yourself standing inside a quiet night sky made of thought. Around you, invisible sparks drift between stars, tiny, shimmering connections that hold the stories of your mind together. These are synapses, the sacred spaces where one neuron meets another. They are so small that millions could fit on the head of a pin, yet they are where every idea, emotion and dream begins. Between them electric whispers leap, gentle, fleeting, unstoppable. You drift closer, as though floating through the atmosphere of your own consciousness. In every corner, neurons stretch their arms toward each other, reaching, waiting, glowing. When one fires, a spark jumps across the synapse, releasing a messenger made of light and chemistry. It crosses the gap in less than a heartbeat, carrying a thought from one cell to the next. Billions of these messages pass every second. A rain of meaning, falling in silence. You imagine each spark as a firefly. They hover in the soft dark, flickering in time with your breath. The brain hums beneath the surface of your awareness, sending out these lights in gentle waves. Some of them ignite new ideas, some recall old memories, others drift into dreams. It is a living constellation inside you, a galaxy made not of stars, but of connections. Each synapse is alive with potential. It decides whether to open or close, to send or to pause, to connect or to wait. This decision is guided by tiny molecules called neurotransmitters, the couriers of thought. Serotonin, dopamine, glutamate, acetylcholine. Their names sound mechanical, but their dance is full of poetry. They do not speak words, yet they carry joy, calm, desire, memory. They are emotion made physical, flowing through you like an unseen river. You imagine this river running through forests of light. Neurons bend and sway like trees, their branches touching, their roots deep in the soil of your being. Each droplet of chemistry is a note in a great biological symphony. Together, they create a song of self-awareness, a melody that plays even in sleep. You are not just a listener to that song. You are the song itself. Sometimes, the sparks leap in quick bursts. When you think, when you feel, when you remember. Other times, they slow, moving like lazy embers drifting through dusk. When you are calm, the synapses quiet down, whispering rather than shouting. They wait, ready, balanced between stillness and motion. It is in this stillness that peace begins to form, not in silence, but in perfect rhythm. The connections are not fixed. They change with every thought, every moment, every experience. When you learn something new synapses form, branching outward like vines searching for light. When you repeat a habit, those connections grow stronger, thicker, more efficient. The brain rewires itself in secret, sculpting your inner world with each breath. It is called neuroplasticity, the art of constant becoming. You can almost feel it happening now, subtle and slow. A faint tingle in the back of your mind, the sense of something shifting, stretching, expanding in the dark, like the gentle unfurling of leaves in moonlight. New pathways awaken. You do not control it, yet it listens to you. Every thought a brushstroke, every dream a seed. The landscape of your mind grows with your attention. Imagine watching a single thought travel through you. It begins as a spark, somewhere deep in the folds of your brain. It leaps from one neuron to another, moving in pulses of light. Each synapse it crosses adds meaning, refines emotion, shapes identity. By the time it reaches awareness, it has passed through millions of connections. A journey too fast to comprehend, too beautiful to describe. Sometimes, the sparks grow tired. They fade for a while, allowing rest. This is why sleep matters. It is the time when synapses reset, when signals slow, when chemistry returns to calm. During the night, your brain clears away unused connections, making space for new growth. It is like pruning a garden beneath the stars, keeping only what is vital and alive. While you sleep, the mind tends to itself in silence. You float deeper into that garden now. You can almost see the shapes of thoughts blooming around you. Some are familiar, soft petals of memory, glowing with faint color. Others are strange and wild, growing in directions you cannot predict. The air hums with the scent of electricity and calm. Every spark a heartbeat, every gap a promise waiting to be crossed. You notice that some connections feel ancient. Old pathways carved by repetition and emotion. These are your reflexes, your instincts, your deepest habits. They are strong, fast, automatic. Others are new, fragile, shimmering with potential. Each one a newborn star, a bridge waiting to become part of who you are. Together, they form the architecture of thought, as delicate as it is infinite. You imagine now that each synapse is a tiny bridge of light suspended over a river of darkness. Every time a signal leaps across, the bridge glows bright for an instant, then fades. Some bridges are crossed so often they stay illuminated, forming highways of memory. Others glow only once, their light vanishing into quiet oblivion. Yet even those fleeting sparks leave traces, echoes of possibility, ripples in the ocean of your mind. The more you focus, the slower everything seems to move. Sparks turn into drifting embers. The electric hum softens into waves. You feel as though you are floating among them, weightless, listening to the quiet murmur of existence. Each connection hums with purpose, yet none of them rush. The brain is both storm and stillness, the perfect balance between fire and rest. There is beauty in this hidden balance. The neurons are like dancers, and the synapses their invisible stage. Together they weave the choreography of consciousness, intricate, spontaneous, eternal. The dance continues through joy, through sorrow, through dream and thought. It has no beginning, no end, only flow. You are both audience and performer, watching and feeling the same moment unfold. You sense how ancient this mechanism is. Evolution built it slowly, layer upon layer, refining the art of communication. From the simplest single-celled life to the vast human mind, the same principle endures: connection. Across time, across form, the spark has always leapt. Life itself is the story of things reaching toward one another, bridging the gaps of isolation. You are that story, continued in light. The deeper you drift into the image, the softer everything becomes. The bright flashes dim into faint glimmers, like stars seen through mist. The brain grows quieter, resting in its own pulse. You imagine lying inside that glow, feeling the rhythm of billions of tiny lives within you. Their activity becomes your lullaby, constant, yet peaceful, like waves folding against a quiet shore. As the night deepens, the sparks slow to a gentle shimmer. The neurons no longer race, they breathe. The synapses no longer leap, they wait in serene alignment. Your mind, once a galaxy of motion, now becomes a still constellation. Every thought, every signal, every flicker of energy folds into one calm rhythm. The soft, timeless hum of the human brain. Glowing quietly in the dark, you imagine your mind as a quiet ocean beneath a velvet sky. The waves move slowly, steady and deep, carrying thoughts like drifting shells. Beneath that surface lies something softer, stranger. A realm where logic dissolves and imagination begins. This is the ocean of dreams. Every night, you descend into it without realizing, sinking into its gentle blue depth. The body grows still, but the mind begins to travel. It slips from the world of waking sound and sight into the soft silence between thoughts. There, patterns of memory and feeling unfold like ripples across dark water. The brain begins to weave images out of nothing: light, sound, color, and story, all born from its own chemistry. It becomes both artist and dreamer, painting the night from within. As you drift, the conscious world fades like a dimming shore behind you. The brain enters a rhythm, slow and deep, known as sleep cycles. It drifts down into stillness, then rises again into vivid motion. The realm of REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the stage where dreams bloom. Behind your eyelids, the eyes flicker as though following invisible stars. During this time, your brain is more active than it seems. Neurons spark in bursts, sending messages through the night like lightning under the sea. The same circuits that guide your waking thoughts come alive again. Not with reality, but with imagination. The mind rehearses emotions, repairs memories, sorts through fragments of the day. It is a secret theater, performing in total darkness. You can almost see it now. The dream forming like mist, curling through the folds of your mind. It has no fixed shape. It changes as you watch. Fluid as water, a door appears. A familiar face, a color you cannot name. The dream welcomes you gently, and you walk deeper into it without needing to understand. In this ocean, time behaves differently. Minutes stretch into hours. Entire worlds rise and dissolve in a breath. The brain's sense of reality becomes flexible, bending like light through deep water. You might fly, breathe beneath the sea, visit someone long gone. Yet every sensation feels real, because the same neurons that fire in waking life glow again in dream. The brain does not distinguish imagination from experience. You float between scenes, weightless, carried by invisible tides. Some dreams are soft, full of light, laughter, or warmth. Others are strange and shadowed, like whispers from forgotten places within you. Each dream is a reflection, a message in metaphor, an echo of emotion that never found words. brain translates what the heart feels into images, allowing you to heal in symbols. In these hidden hours, creativity awakens. The sleeping brain is fearless, unbound by reason or structure. It paints with wild color, builds worlds from fragments of memory and sound. Artists, inventors, writers, all have found ideas inside this dream ocean. For here, the mind is free to explore the impossible, to combine the stars with the sea, to give form to wonder itself. You imagine the dream now as a coral reef beneath your consciousness. It glows faintly, alive with strange creatures of thought. Each neuron sends a signal that flashes like bioluminescent light, illuminating the sea floor of your mind. Synapses bloom like anemones, opening and closing in rhythm. You drift among them, watching the dance of memory and imagination. The brain protects you as you dream. It silences the body through a process called muscle atonia, a temporary paralysis. This keeps you safe, still, while the mind travels freely. It is a quiet guardian, ensuring that your physical form rests, even as your inner world moves. Like a diver tethered to the surface, you are anchored while you wander. Somewhere in this world of images, the hippocampus stirs. It is the keeper of memory, sorting through the day's moments like seashells. The mind replays what it has seen, what it has felt, what it still carries. It strengthens important connections and gently lets go of the rest. The unnecessary fades like footprints washed away by the tide. Sometimes, the dream feels familiar, a place you've never been but somehow remember. The brain blends reality with imagination, layering fragments into seamless landscapes. A childhood street merges with a mountain that doesn't exist. A forgotten song plays in the wind. You recognize it without knowing why. It is your inner world, assembled from the pieces of everything you've ever been. You drift deeper now, into the layers of sleep that cradle the dreaming mind. Your breathing slows. The heart beats like a soft drum in the distance. Outside, the night is silent, but inside, a symphony continues. The neurons hum, the chemistry flows, and the images bloom again. Endless, changing fluid. The dream carries you further inward. It is said that during REM sleep, the brain rehearses life itself. It simulates fears and hopes, teaching you how to face what you cannot yet confront. Even nightmares, though dark, are lessons in disguise, the brain's way of resolving what feels unfinished. Every image, no matter how strange, has a purpose. Even confusion is healing, reshaping your understanding in the quiet hours. You begin to notice how dream and waking life are not so separate. Both are built from the same material: perception, memory, and emotion. The only difference is awareness. When you wake, the dream fades, but its traces remain. A thought, a feeling, an inspiration lingers like morning dew. The boundaries between worlds are thinner than you think. As you drift, the line between dreaming and being begins to blur. The dream no longer feels like something you're watching. It feels like something you are. You become the wind, the stars, the ocean current. You are the observer and the dream itself, dissolving into the rhythm of your own mind. Everything inside you glows with quiet purpose. The waves of sleep continue to rise and fall. The brain moves through cycles, deeper and shallower, as though breathing in rhythm with the universe. Each time you descend, the dreams return, different each time, yet always familiar. You are part of a vast inner tide, moving through phases of thought and rest. It feels endless, eternal, peaceful. You imagine now the final edge of the dream ocean. Beyond it, there is only stillness, a deep, weightless calm. The neurons fire in slow, rhythmic pulses. The lights dim to a gentle shimmer. You are floating now, no longer thinking, no longer seeing. The mind hums in pure quiet, like a distant lullaby sung by the sea itself. In that space, the brain and the dream merge completely. There is no longer a difference between what is imagined and what is real. The body sleeps, but the mind glows like a distant star beneath the surface of the night. You drift, carried by the gentle currents of thought. Through the vast, blue ocean of dreams, you imagine your mind as a quiet library, hidden somewhere deep within you. The air inside is warm and still. Shelves stretch endlessly in all directions, filled with the stories of your life. Each thought, each moment, each feeling has been carefully placed here, waiting to be remembered. This is your memory, the library of shadows, where time folds softly around recollection. You walk slowly through this inner place, the sound of your steps almost silent on the floor of thought. Dust motes drift in shafts of gentle light. Some books are glowing, alive with recent memories. A laugh, a scent, a familiar voice. Others sleep in darkness, untouched for years, their pages waiting to be opened. The deeper you wander, the older and quieter the shelves become. The hippocampus is the librarian of this world. Small, curved, and tucked deep in your brain. It is shaped like a seahorse, ancient and graceful, swimming through your sea of memory. Each night, as you rest, it tends to its archives. It gathers fragments of experience from the day and places them into order, whispering to itself in electrical patterns. You do not hear it, but it never stops working. You imagine the hippocampus carrying delicate moments like tiny shells, placing them carefully into the vast ocean of long-term memory. Some are stored with precision, faces, names, places, laughter. Others drift into softer waters, blending with dream and emotion. The brain does not save everything. It chooses what matters most. Even forgetting is an act of care, a way of keeping the shelves from overflowing. Each memory is more than an image. It is texture, scent, rhythm, light. The neurons that once fired together to create it now rest as pathways of potential. When you recall a moment, those same neurons glow again, reawakening the pattern of the past. You do not travel backward in time. The brain simply rebuilds the moment, alive again for an instant. It feels real because, inside your mind, it is. You drift deeper into the library, tracing your fingers along the spines of forgotten days. Some memories open easily, pages fresh and vivid. Others are worn and fragile, their ink fading with time. The hippocampus preserves them as best it can, but even the most careful librarian cannot keep every page forever. What fades, though, never truly disappears. It becomes part of the quiet hum between thoughts, a soft background to the present. Sometimes, you find memories that do not seem real. Dreams, imagined moments, feelings that never happened but still feel true. The brain cannot always tell the difference between memory and imagination. Both are woven from the same threads of neural light. This is why a dream can linger like reality, and why remembering can feel like reliving. Inside the library, truth and illusion sit side by side on the same shelf. You think of how memories are never still. Each time you remember something, it changes slightly. A word added, a color softened, a detail forgotten. Like a book rewritten by the act of reading. Memory reshapes itself with every recall. This process is called reconsolidation. It is how your mind keeps the past alive, not as a photograph, but as a living story that grows with you. The shelves hum softly as you move through them. Electric light flickers across the neurons, carrying signals between billions of connections. These pathways are like trails in a forest. The more you walk them, the clearer they become. Each repetition strengthens the rote, carving it deeper into your mind. Learning is simply the forest growing paths that lead back to the same clearing. Some paths, however, fade when not used. They grow over with new growth, hidden under layers of experience. This forgetting is not loss, it is renewal. The brain clears what no longer serves, making space for what will come. Memory is not a vault. It is a living garden, constantly pruning and blooming, changing with each passing season of your life. As you wander, you notice how emotion shapes memory. Strong feelings burn brighter, carving deeper grooves in the mind. That is why joy, love, and fear stay with you longer. They are written not just in thought, but in chemistry. The amygdala, another hidden part of your brain, marks these moments with significance. It decides what will matter, what will fade, what will return to you when you least expect it. You pause and feel the soft echo of your own past rising through you. A scent, faint and familiar, triggers a sudden warmth, perhaps the memory of a room, a day, a voice. The hippocampus and amygdala join hands in that instant, recreating a fragment of life. You feel it not just in thought, but in your body. Your pulse quickens, your breath deepens, your mind drifts backward for a heartbeat. Memory is never just mental, it lives in every cell. Sometimes, as you sleep, the brain replays these memories in secret. During deep rest, it sends quiet waves through the hippocampus, like ripples across still water. Each ripple strengthens what is worth keeping and lets the rest dissolve. You dream fragments of the day, faces, words, flashes of color. The brain is archiving them, preserving them, tucking them into the deeper folds where they will rest. You picture the hippocampus now, glowing faintly in the dark. Around it, countless neurons pulse with slow light, weaving together the tapestry of the past. The air feels charged but calm, like standing inside a storm of memories slowed to silence. You sense how everything you are has passed through this place. Every lesson, every loss, every small joy. The brain is the keeper of your story, yet it tells it in whispers, not words. You walk further into the library. The shelves stretch into mist now, where the oldest memories sleep. These are the first sounds you ever heard, the first sensations of light and warmth. They are unreachable, yet their echo shapes you still. Beneath the surface of thought, they form the foundation of your identity. Quiet pillars holding up the person you have become. There are darker shelves too, places where painful memories rest in dim light. The brain keeps them not to torment you, but to protect you. It studies them quietly, learning, healing, reframing. With time, their sharpness softens, their edges blur. They become lessons wrapped in gentleness, the ache replaced by understanding. Even pain becomes part of the architecture of peace. You notice that not all memories belong to words. Some are stored in the rhythm of movement, the grace of habit. The brain remembers how to walk, how to breathe, how to hold a pen. These memories live in the cerebellum and basal ganglia, quiet and faithful, repeating their patterns without effort. You do not need to think to recall them. They are woven into the body's quiet intelligence. The longer you wander, the quieter everything becomes. The books hum softly. The air thickens with calm. You begin to sense the way memory and dream overlap. How the hippocampus, when you sleep, revisits these shelves, connecting old stories to new. The result is creativity, the birth of understanding, of meaning drawn from memory's endless river. The past reshapes the future while you dream. You drift now toward the farthest corner of the library, where time loses its shape. Here memories dissolve into light. No more pages, no more shelves, only soft glow, pulsing with the rhythm of your own breath. It is the purest form of remembering, not of moments or places, but of existence itself. The brain, the body, the self, all humming together in quiet unity. You float there, surrounded by this gentle shimmer. The neurons fire slowly, like distant lightning behind clouds. Each pulse a whisper of who you are, who you've been, who you will become. The library continues its endless work, archiving the night, rewriting, healing, remembering. You rest within it, weightless and timeless, drifting through the soft corridors of the mind, where memories glow like lanterns in the dark. You picture the human brain as a night sky filled with tiny constellations of light, each neuron a star, glowing faintly, whispering to its neighbors across vast, invisible distances. You can almost feel the quiet pulse of energy flowing through them, billions of signals traveling faster than thought. It is a celestial dance, a cosmic orchestra conducted within your own skull. Every spark, every flicker, every gentle pulse tells the story of your mind, shimmering like galaxies in motion. As you breathe slowly, you imagine the neurons reaching for one another, stretching their slender arms of light. They do not touch, not directly. Instead, they speak through the spaces between. Through synapses, those delicate bridges of chemistry and charge. Within those gaps, tiny messengers leap and shimmer. Neurotransmitters carrying meaning from one star to the next. Dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, each a note in the music of thought. You drift with them, floating through that quiet neural sea. You can sense how immense it is, more connections than stars in the Milky Way. Yet everything remains so small, microscopic, hidden in the silence of your skull. It feels impossible that something so intricate, so immeasurable, fits within the folds of your mind. And yet, there it is. The most complex structure in the known universe, dreaming itself awake through you. You imagine the neurons firing in slow waves, like tides across the ocean of your thoughts. Each wave carries a whisper, a sound, a scent, an emotion, a memory. The brain hums with these signals, endlessly transmitting, recalibrating, adapting. Even now, as you lie still, it is awake in its own way, adjusting its inner currents, shaping your dreams before they arrive. In the distance, you see a single neuron, long, slender, glowing faintly blue. It pulses gently, sending a ripple down its axon. The signal travels like a wave of light, a silent current of electricity, moving with incredible speed. When it reaches the next neuron, chemicals spill delicately across the synaptic cleft, carrying information onward. You imagine this happening billions of times a second, each moment filled with the quiet chatter of light and chemistry. Your thoughts, feelings, and awareness all emerge from this, from flickering signals and molecular dances. The brain does not store ideas in single places. They exist in patterns, in constellations. Every thought you have is shared across many neurons, each adding its part to the song. That is why memories feel both solid and fragile, because they live not in one space, but in the shimmering web of many. You picture yourself drifting deeper into this glowing forest. The neurons look like trees now, their branches reaching outward in luminous tangles. Between them, light flows like wind. Every spark you see is communication, a neuron telling its neighbor, "I have something to share." The air hums softly with their endless exchanges, a language older than words, made entirely of rhythm and pulse. You realize that even silence in the brain is never truly empty. Even when you rest, networks remain alive, faintly glowing, waiting. Some parts of your brain stay gently awake, tending to heartbeat, breath, warmth. Others sink into quiet darkness, conserving energy. Dreaming in chemical color. Sleep itself is a symphony of neurons shifting patterns, like the stars moving slowly across a midnight sky. The electrical language of your brain is delicate and powerful. It uses voltage changes no stronger than the breath of a butterfly, yet they ripple through immense systems of thought. These tiny currents move ions, particles smaller than dust, across cell membranes. And somehow, from those invisible flows arise ideas, hopes, faces, and memories. From electricity, consciousness blooms. You drift through this hidden storm, surrounded by the faint scent of ozone and the warmth of light. It feels like walking through the aurora borealis. Waves of color moving slowly through the night of your mind. You feel the neurons pulse around you, responding to the rhythm of your breathing. The entire network seems to echo your calm, slowing, softening, glowing gently as you sink deeper into thought. In one corner of your imagination, you see glial cells, the quiet caretakers of the neural world. They are not as famous as neurons, yet they are the silent guardians. They feed, clean, and protect the stars. Some wrap around neurons, insulating them like silk, making their signals swift and clear. Others remove waste, clear debris, and maintain balance. Without them, the stars would fade, their light flickering into chaos. You imagine glial cells as moonlight drifting through a dark forest, unseen, but everywhere. They do not sing, yet their stillness keeps the entire orchestra in harmony. When you sleep, they work hardest, washing away the byproducts of thought, cleansing your brain in gentle waves. This nightly tide of care keeps your mind clear for another dawn, another day of light and wonder. As you drift further, you sense how everything is connected. The neurons, the glial cells, the chemical messengers. They are like threads in a vast web, shimmering together in perfect balance. Even the simplest act, lifting your hand, remembering a sound, feeling calm, requires the cooperation of countless signals. You are not a single mind, but a constellation of living light, each spark contributing to the whole. In this soft, infinite space, time begins to blur. You lose the sense of before and after. The signals in your brain are timeless, repeating, adjusting, cycling endlessly. Each thought fades into another, each neuron fires in rhythm. Each synapse glows for a heartbeat before dimming again. It feels like listening to rain falling on an endless ocean. Never stopping, never repeating exactly, yet always familiar. Some neurons die, and others are born. The brain is never still. It reshapes itself every moment. Learning, growing, adapting to every experience. Scientists call it neuroplasticity, the quiet art of change. You can almost see it now. The neurons building new bridges, pruning old ones, weaving fresh paths through the darkness. Learning is simply the forest growing new trails of light. You think of all the times you've learned something new, how strange it felt at first. That sensation of struggle, of repetition, is the brain's way of shaping its own architecture. Each attempt strengthens a pathway, making it smoother, clearer, more familiar. The neurons practice their dance until it becomes effortless. And one day, without realizing, the knowledge feels natural, as if it was always there. You wander deeper still, and the neurons begin to look like stars again. They pulse in slow, rhythmic waves, forming clusters of light. Some represent memories, others emotions, others instincts. Together, they form the landscape of your inner universe. You drift among them like an explorer, surrounded by silent galaxies of thought. It feels endless, yet peaceful, like floating in warm starlight. As you move through this expanse, you notice how harmony matters. The brain thrives not in noise, but in rhythm. When you are calm, your neurons synchronize, their signals flowing like waves across a lake. When you are anxious or restless, the signals clash, sparks firing in disarray. This is why breath and stillness help. They bring coherence to the symphony, guiding the orchestra back into balance. You imagine now your breath as wind through this vast forest of light. Each inhale stirs the neurons. Each exhale calms them again. You can almost see the waves of electricity adjusting, slowing, softening, sensing with your calm. The neural storms subside and the stars shine more steadily. The brain listens to the body's rhythm, always learning, always adapting to the gentle message of peace. The deeper you drift, the slower everything becomes. The electrical storms grow quieter. The synapses glow faintly, and the glial moons move silently through the dark. You feel the boundaries between self and mind dissolve. There is no difference between the light you see and the thoughts you have. They are one and the same, energy flowing through the endless night. You sense that this glowing forest inside you will never cease to change. Every dream, every sound, every gentle heartbeat leaves its trace upon the stars. The neurons will continue their endless conversation long after you fall asleep, whispering to one another in languages older than life itself. You rest among them, calm and still, surrounded by the quiet hum of your inner cosmos. You imagine the brain as a landscape of shifting light, a horizon of thought and rhythm. Each part of it hums with its own song, soft and subtle, blending into a great harmony. Within this landscape lies a hidden rhythm, the steady pulse that keeps you alive. You cannot hear it, but it moves through you constantly. It is the quiet dialogue between your brain and your heart, a conversation older than language. Your brain sends signals through invisible threads, guiding your heartbeat with every breath you take. It watches over your pulse like a guardian, adjusting speed and pressure, keeping the rhythm steady. Inside your chest, the heart listens, its muscles responding with gentle precision. You are the meeting place of electricity and blood, of thought and motion, of silence and life. Every beat is both command and response, both question and answer. You picture the medulla, deep within your brainstem, as a watchful being, ancient, patient, and always awake. It listens to your body's whispers, the level of oxygen in your blood, the pace of your breath, the rhythm of your heart. It never sleeps, not even for a moment. Like a lighthouse at the edge of consciousness, it keeps your internal tides in balance, guiding your life through the endless night. You imagine each heartbeat as a drop of sound falling into a quiet pond. The ripples spread outward, through your veins, your arteries, your fingertips. The brain senses every ripple, every subtle change. It adjusts with grace, faster when you move, slower when you rest. You are a living cycle, an endless feedback loop of light, sound, and flow. You drift deeper into the image, your heart glowing softly, pulsing with warmth. The brain watches it from above like a distant moon, sending beams of guidance through the nervous sky. Between them flows a silent river, made of signals traveling through the vagus nerve. This river carries calm, slows the breath, softens the pulse. It is the gentle hand of the parasympathetic system, always bringing you back to stillness. When you inhale, the heart quickens slightly, following the rhythm of air entering your lungs. When you exhale, it slows, like a wave receding from shore. The brain orchestrates this delicate dance with perfect timing. You don't need to think about it. It simply happens, again and again, a natural music that keeps you alive even as you drift towards sleep. Somewhere within this rhythm, emotion finds its place. When you feel joy, the pulse brightens. When you fear, it quickens. When you rest, it softens again. The brain and heart share these feelings, whispering to one another through their silent language. The amygdala, the small almond of emotion deep in your brain, can quicken your heart before you even understand why. It is instinct, survival, memory, all moving at the speed of a heartbeat. You imagine standing within this symphony, surrounded by light that pulses with each beat. You can see the signals as faint golden threads rising from your heart to your brain, returning again in waves. Every moment of calm, every sigh, every steady breath strengthens this connection. Scientists call it coherence, the moment when heart and brain align in rhythm. In that space, you feel peace not just in thought, but in every cell. You feel how the brain listens through the baroreceptors, tiny sensors within your arteries. They measure the pressure of each beat, sending messages upward to adjust your body's balance. These signals are soft and constant, a background hum beneath awareness. It is the brain's way of staying in tune with your living rhythm, of making sure everything continues in quiet harmony. You drift further into the scene. The brain is a cathedral of electricity, the heart its bell. With each toll, vibrations spread through the entire structure. The body responds, swaying gently in time with the unseen melody. The brain doesn't command the heart like a machine, it sings with it. They are partners in an endless duet, blending mind and motion, thought and feeling, life and stillness. You begin to feel the connection extending beyond heartbeat and breath. The brain regulates temperature, balance, even the movement of your stomach and lungs. All of this is handled by the autonomic nervous system, the quiet, tireless caretaker. It works in the background like a soft wind, adjusting every detail to keep the body in harmony. You rest, yet within you, millions of small acts of balance unfold with perfect precision. You picture the hypothalamus as a glowing ember within the mind. It measures everything, warmth, hunger, fatigue, and adjusts the inner world accordingly. When you are too warm, it cools you. When you need energy, it calls for nourishment. It is the bridge between thought and flesh, where mind becomes matter, and matter becomes calm. Even as you sleep, it stays awake, tending to your body like a silent guardian. Your breath deepens as you imagine these systems moving together. The nervous currents glow like rivers of starlight. The heart beats in time with your inhalations. The lungs expand with perfect rhythm. The neurons fire softly in waves. You are not a collection of parts, but a seamless pattern. A living, breathing mandala of energy and motion. The brain sits at its center, calm and luminous, watching everything flow in quiet balance. Somewhere deep within this harmony, you sense emotion again. But this time, it feels different. It is not excitement or fear, but a soft awareness of connection. The brain and heart mirror each other, reflecting the same pulse. You understand now that calmness is not emptiness, but synchronization. A kind of music where every note agrees with the next. The nervous system hums, the heart glows, the breath floats like mist. You imagine the vagus nerve again, winding through the body like a silver thread. When you relax, it brightens. It slows the heart, deepens the breath, releases warmth through the chest. This is how calm feels, not just in thought, but in your body's rhythm. You can almost see it now. Waves of gentle light spreading through you, carrying messages of peace to every cell. You notice how fragile and beautiful this system is, how easily stress or noise can disrupt it. Yet you also see how quickly it can return to calm. A slow breath, a quiet moment, a gentle focus, and the brain remembers its rhythm. It sends its message of stillness down the spinal cord. The heart responds, and peace returns. This is the body's natural wisdom, the way it always finds its way home. You imagine drifting deeper now, into the spaces where consciousness fades. The brain's signals slow, the heart's rhythm softens. The two no longer speak in bursts of sound, but in whispers. Their conversation continues, but you no longer listen consciously. It moves beneath you, sustaining you. As you float between waking and dream, you feel your awareness widen, like mist expanding across a quiet lake. The brain's waves shift into slower frequencies, alpha, then theta, carrying you into the threshold of sleep. The heart follows, steady and low, as if it too were falling into a dream. You are safe, perfectly synchronized with yourself. The brain hums faintly, the heart glows softly, and all of you drifts together. Somewhere in the distance, you sense how ancient this rhythm is. Every creature on Earth, every heartbeat that ever existed, follows the same quiet pattern. Life has always been a conversation between pulse and thought, between current and breath. You are part of that lineage, another heartbeat in the great rhythm of existence. You drift farther, the sound of your heartbeat fading into the background of silence. The neurons fire slower now, the signals thinning like mist under moonlight. You no longer feel where one ends and the other begins. Brain, heart, breath, all blending into one. The light of thought dims to a steady glow. The heart beats softly in reply, and everything begins to dissolve into stillness. You rest there, somewhere between awareness and dream, surrounded by the invisible pulse of your own existence. The dialogue between brain and heart continues without words. Steady, kind, eternal. The body hums, the neurons flicker, the heart glows like an ember beneath your ribs. You drift in the rhythm, weightless and calm. Part of the endless music of being. You imagine your mind as a quiet ocean, stretching endlessly beneath the surface of thought. The waves above are your waking mind, rippling, reflecting, bright with motion. But deep below, in the still waters of the subconscious, another world moves in silence. It is ancient, soft, and endless. This is where the brain keeps its deepest secrets, the hidden tides of memory, intuition, and dream. You drift downward, past the sparkling waves of awareness, into the calm twilight below. Here, your thoughts move slower, like drifting fish, appearing and fading without effort. You can feel the gentle pull of something deeper, the subconscious mind, vast and alive. It is not chaos, but rhythm. The brain continues its work here, unseen but tireless, guiding emotion, shaping instinct, building the quiet foundations of who you are. The subconscious is not a single place, but a network of hidden chambers within the brain. You imagine it as a labyrinth of glowing coral, millions of small processes happening without your awareness. The amygdala tends the garden of emotion. The hippocampus stores stories and sensations. The prefrontal cortex listens in silence, waiting for what the depths will bring. Even as you rest, the underwater city hums with gentle energy. You feel yourself moving through this realm, guided by soft light. Around you drift fragments of memory, shimmering like jellyfish in the current. Some are old, from childhood, others are fresh, still forming. The brain sorts through them constantly, deciding what to keep and what to release. Dreams rise like bubbles, carrying pieces of memory toward the surface of consciousness. The ocean of mind is never still. It breathes, it flows, it remembers. You begin to notice the rhythm of this hidden world. It moves in waves. The cycles of thought and rest, action and reflection. Each night, when you sleep, the tide pulls inward. The conscious mind fades, and the subconscious rises, taking control. It repairs, rebalances, reimagines. The neurons slow their chatter and begin to hum in low frequencies, linking distant regions together. What was scattered during the day becomes whole again by night. You can almost feel it happening now. The slow synchronization of your inner ocean. Your brain waves soften from the quick ripples of wakefulness to the slower undulations of calm. Alpha waves first, then theta. each one bringing deeper stillness. In this space, your subconscious begins to weave, connecting emotions with memories, memories with meaning, meaning with dreams. You drift in its current, gently carried toward understanding. The subconscious speaks in symbols, not words. You see its language in dreams, strange stories, half-formed images, impossible landscapes. Yet each dream carries truth, wrapped in metaphor. A falling star might mean fear. A door might mean change. A hand reaching through mist might be memory itself, asking to be seen. The brain uses this language to heal, to balance, to prepare for another day of waking thought. You imagine your neurons glowing softly as they share information between layers of the mind. The prefrontal cortex rests, its logical voice quiet now. The limbic system, emotional, ancient, begins to hum louder. It reviews the day's feelings, deciding which to store, which to fade. This is emotional housekeeping, done gently, every night. The subconscious clears space for calm, washing away small stresses like waves erasing footprints in sand. You drift deeper still. Down here, the subconscious mind does not think in lines but in spirals. It circles ideas, revisits them, reshapes them. Sometimes you wake with a solution that seems to appear from nowhere. But it was born here, in this silent sea, where your brain explores possibilities without fear or noise. Creativity blooms in these depths, not forced, but found. It grows like coral, slow and luminous. You begin to feel how memory and dream intertwine. Each night, the hippocampus replays fragments of the day, sending signals to the cortex to strengthen what matters. You may dream of faces, voices, laughter, echoes of what you lived, but the subconscious changes them, blending truth and imagination. It tests scenarios, explores emotions, simulates what could have been. The result is understanding without effort, wisdom born of stillness. As you float there, you notice the balance between control and surrender. The conscious mind directs, plans, reasons. The subconscious feels, imagines, restores. Together they form a cycle, each relying on the other. When you are awake, the surface shines bright. When you sleep, the depths take over. Both are you. The thinker and the dreamer. The sailor and the sea. You imagine the corpus callosum, the great bridge between the two hemispheres, glowing faintly above. It hums with quiet light, passing signals between left and right, logic and emotion, awareness and intuition. It is the tide between two worlds. In sleep, its rhythm slows, its waves long and gentle, letting the hemispheres speak freely. You can almost hear their dialogue, a language of rhythm and pulse, like whales calling across the sea. In the far reaches of your inner ocean, the subconscious mind keeps time with your body. It regulates heartbeat, temperature, breath, all without thought. You never tell it to keep you alive, yet it does. The brainstem and hypothalamus work together like steady currents, holding your body in quiet harmony. The subconscious does not need attention, it needs trust. It keeps you breathing even as your awareness drifts toward dream. You drift through a field of light now, a place where old memories rest. Some are bright and vivid, others dim and quiet. They are stored not as pictures, but as patterns of connection. The brain remembers by reactivating these patterns, bringing them back to life for a heartbeat. Sometimes they surface without warning. A scent, a song, a sound. That is the subconscious whispering, reaching into the present with fingers made of time. You realize that your subconscious never sleeps, even when you do. It listens, always. It hears the hum of your surroundings, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet of your thoughts. Even when your conscious mind is still, it remains at work, protecting, predicting, creating. It is the night watch of the soul, tending the fire of life through the dark hours. The subconscious is also where intuition lives. You feel it as a pull, a knowing without reason. The brain collects patterns from every experience you've ever had, stores them deep below awareness, and draws from them in moments of decision. What feels like instinct is ancient learning resurfacing, a whisper from the depths. You don't think it, you simply know. As you float in this understanding, you notice how calm the ocean has become. The neurons flicker like bioluminescent creatures, glowing softly in the dark. You are surrounded by their slow dance, each light a connection, each pulse a thought forming beneath the surface. You are not separate from them. You are part of the glow, the network, the tide. The subconscious is not beneath you. It is you, expanded beyond the edges of awareness. Your breathing deepens, slow and rhythmic. Each inhale is a wave rolling in. Each exhale, a wave fading to silence. The subconscious listens to this rhythm and follows it, sensing its patterns to your peace. The amygdala quiets, the hippocampus rests. The neurons hum in harmony. Your mind becomes an ocean at twilight, vast, still, softly alive. You drift now among dreams forming like clouds underwater. Their shapes are slow, luminous, constantly shifting. You sense that some are old, returning to be understood, while others are new, born of the day's thoughts. The subconscious weaves them together, blending time and meaning until they dissolve into emotion. You no longer need to understand. You simply feel. Deeper still, thought gives way to sensation. The neurons fire slower now, their light fading to a steady glow. The subconscious begins to merge with the dream, releasing the last hold of awareness. You are carried by the current, your mind's ocean calm and infinite. The boundary between self and thought dissolves. There is only stillness, rhythm, and light. The deeper you go, the more everything becomes one. The neurons, the heartbeat, the breath, the dream. The subconscious hums, guiding you gently through its currents. It remembers, it heals, it creates. You float within it, weightless and whole, listening to the soft, endless whisper of your own mind as it dreams itself into being. You drift into a quiet moment where the edges of thought begin to blur like mist. The world outside fades and the world within opens. It feels softer here, slower, as if time itself breathes with you. In this hush, your brain begins its nightly ritual, a journey through memory, repair and renewal. The cells hum in quiet cooperation, a symphony that happens every night while you rest. You imagine the brain as a vast forest under moonlight. Each neuron is a glowing tree, its branches reaching for others in shimmering arcs of connection. Through these luminous pathways, tiny sparks travel. Messages, memories, dreams. Millions of them, flickering in silent rhythm. This is your mind as it dreams, both vast and intimate, a living landscape of thought and energy. As you drift deeper into this forest, you can almost feel the flow of electricity between the trees. The synapses open and close like gentle tides. Neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, GABA, rise and fall like dew. These are the languages of the subconscious, the whispers between neurons. Each pulse is a thought, each wave a dream forming quietly in the dark. You walk along a trail of light, following the slow shimmer of neural activity. The hippocampus glows softly nearby, tending to memory. It gathers fragments of your day, sights, sounds, emotions, and places them carefully into long-term storage. It's as if the forest is archiving the day's sunlight, pressing it between the pages of night. You don't have to remember, the brain remembers for you. Deeper in the forest, you feel the presence of the prefrontal cortex, the thinker, the planner. But now, in the stillness of night, it finally rests. Its constant chatter quiets, its analytical voice fades into the background. This silence gives space for the subconscious to speak. Without judgment or logic, it drifts through memory and feeling, finding connections your waking mind could never see. You begin to notice patterns forming between the trees. Threads of light connect one memory to another, weaving a tapestry of meaning. Something that happened years ago glows faintly, linking itself to a thought from today. The brain is reorganizing, rewiring itself, strengthening what matters and gently letting go of what doesn't. It is pruning and planting at once, tending the garden of your identity. You imagine the glial cells, the caretakers of this forest, moving gracefully through the neural pathways. They clean away old debris, refresh tired connections, and nourish the neurons with new energy. It's a kind of nocturnal housekeeping, silent and beautiful. While your body rests, your brain is alive with this quiet maintenance, ensuring that tomorrow you awaken lighter, clearer, renewed. The rhythm of your breathing seems to sync with this hidden work. Each inhale carries oxygen, feeding the neurons' fire. Each exhale releases what is no longer needed. Even in sleep, your breath and brain dance together in harmony, the body and mind as one system of life. You feel this unity, the quiet intelligence of the cells, the gentle pulse of being. You drift through another region now, the limbic system. Where emotion lives, it feels warmer here, softer. Memories shimmer with feeling joy, sadness, or love. The amygdala watches over them, deciding what to keep, what to ease away. Some emotions are released like leaves into a stream. Others are folded carefully into the story of who you are. Sometimes, as dreams begin to bloom, the subconscious paints these emotions into imagery. You see forests and oceans, faces and symbols. They are not random. They are the language of the limbic mind, expressing what cannot be said. The brain tells stories not in words, but in sensations. The subconscious uses dreams to make sense of the invisible, to translate emotion into understanding. You feel the dream forming now, not as a picture, but as a current of thought beneath the surface. The default mode network, the brain's introspective core, hums gently, connecting distant regions together. It's like a constellation forming from scattered stars. The brain brings order to chaos, patterns to uncertainty. While you sleep, it rehearses tomorrow's challenges, solves unseen puzzles, and restores emotional balance. You move deeper still, where consciousness itself begins to fade. The neural activity slows, the waves stretch longer and gentler. Beta waves dissolve into alpha, alpha into theta, theta into delta. It's the ocean of sleep, each wave a different depth of stillness. In this space, the neurons rest between bursts of communication, conserving their strength for the next dawn. Sometimes, in this deep calm, you sense the faint pulse of the glymphatic system awakening. It's a hidden river within the brain, cleansing and refreshing. Cerebrospinal fluid flows through the spaces between cells, washing away metabolic waste, proteins, fragments, fatigue. It is the night's tide, ebbing and flowing with each slow heartbeat. This is how your brain heals, not through thought, but through rhythm. As you float in this awareness, the science of it feels almost spiritual. The brain is not merely a machine, but a cosmos within itself. Each neuron is a star, each connection a constellation. Together, they form a living galaxy of light, energy, and thought. You are both the observer and the sky, infinite, self-aware, and deeply at peace. You imagine your dreams as comets crossing this inner sky. Some are bright and unforgettable. Others fade quietly into the background, their trails dissolving before morning. The subconscious decides which to keep, which to let pass, It curates your story gently, never forcing, always balancing. By morning, only the most meaningful fragments remain. The emotional echoes that shape your waking mood. You feel gratitude for this invisible work your brain performs every night. It is the unseen artist, sculpting your inner world while you rest. Every dream, every pulse, every slow chemical exchange is a brushstroke in the ongoing painting of your mind. You sleep, but your brain creates. You rest, but your neurons continue to dance. Somewhere in this gentle hum, your sense of self begins to dissolve. You are no longer the thinker or the dreamer. You are the dream itself. Your thoughts drift like clouds through a night sky. The edges of identity blur, replaced by something larger, something timeless. The brain continues its symphony, each note softer, slower, fading into harmony with the rhythm of your breath. You drift further still, where even dreams begin to dissolve into color and sound. You sense the universe within your mind, not separate, but connected to everything. Every neuron mirrors a star. Every electrical pulse echoes a cosmic wave. The same physics that guides galaxies flows within you. You are made of the same light, the same atoms, the same quiet brilliance. The subconscious, in its infinite wisdom, knows this. It remembers what the conscious mind forgets, that you are not separate from the universe, but a reflection of it. When you sleep, that truth rises again, soft and wordless. The mind remembers its cosmic origin, the spark from which all thought is born. You feel yourself becoming lighter, your breath deeper, your body almost transparent. The neurons flicker slower now, 1,000 candles burning low. The forest of the brain glows dimly, peaceful and alive. The subconscious hums its final lullaby, a song without words, without end. You are drifting now through the quietest part of yourself, the place beneath thought, beneath name, beneath story. The neurons rest, the dreams fade. The ocean of the mind becomes perfectly still. And somewhere in that infinite stillness, the subconscious whispers softly, guiding you further, deeper, into the calm where thought ends and peace begins. You drift softly through the dim corridors of thought, where silence feels like a living thing. Your breath slows. The body grows heavier. The mind begins to release its grip on the waking world. Inside your skull, the great orchestra of sleep begins to prepare for its nightly performance. The architecture of rest, intricate, delicate, and endlessly beautiful. You imagine it as a vast cathedral built from waves of rhythm and light. Each stage of sleep is a chamber, each one deeper, darker, more tranquil than the last. The first moments are gentle, a doorway between awareness and surrender. Alpha waves fade into theta. The chatter of thought begins to soften. You are no longer fully awake, not yet fully asleep. Balanced on the edge of two worlds. The first stage feels like floating. Muscles relax, eyes drift beneath closed lids. The external world dims, replaced by faint images, soft lights, and shapes that flicker across the mind's horizon. This is the hypnagogic state, the twilight of consciousness. Here, dreams begin to form like clouds before a storm, vague and shifting, beautiful in their impermanence. The brain is testing the borderlands of imagination. You can sense the neurons changing pace. The signals between them slow, settle into calmer rhythms. The sensory gates begin to close, muffling the world outside. The brain's attention turns inward, tracing the faint glow of its own electric dreams. This first stage lasts only minutes, but it feels timeless, the threshold to the deeper mysteries below. Soon you descend into the second stage, where the rhythm stabilizes. Theta waves deepen, weaving a slow, steady pulse through the brain. You are further from waking thought now. The heartbeat steadies. The body's temperature cools. Small bursts of activity, called sleep spindles, flicker across the brain, protecting your rest from sudden noise or motion. They are like tiny guardians, woven from light and silence. Each spindle is a promise of continuity, keeping you nestled within the flow of sleep. The body continues to release tension. Muscles go slack. The mind grows quieter still. This is the foundation of true rest, where the surface noise of the day finally fades into the distance. You feel yourself sinking deeper, like a stone falling into a tranquil lake. Then comes the descent into slow, wave sleep, the deepest stage before dreams. Delta waves now roll through the brain like long, slow tides. Each one is a pulse of restoration, washing over the neurons in rhythmic calm. This is the stage where the body heals, where cells repair, where energy is restored. The heart beats slower. The breath becomes long and even. You have entered the sanctuary of deep sleep. You imagine your brain as a vast ocean, each wave a pulse of delta rhythm. The ripples move in harmony across billions of neurons, all synchronized in silent cooperation. It is in this depth that growth hormone flows through the bloodstream, repairing tissues and renewing life. The immune system strengthens. The mind cleanses itself, releasing the residue of waking thought. The ocean is calm, but within it, creation continues. This deep sleep feels like eternity. There are no dreams here, only silence. Time loses meaning. You drift through dark, peaceful currents, your consciousness reduced to pure sensation. The rhythm of breathing, the pulse of life. The brain's energy consumption drops, saving power for the dawn. This is the night's still heart, the purest form of rest your body knows. And yet, within this darkness, something magical begins to stir. Slowly, the delta waves give way to faster, more playful rhythms. The brain begins to awaken inside itself. The eyes, beneath closed lids, start to dart and dance. The world of dreams opens wide, the stage of REM sleep, where imagination takes full control. In this state, the brain becomes almost as active as when awake. Electrical storms flash across the cortex. The visual centers blaze with color and light. The limbic system awakens, flooding the mind with feeling. Yet your body lies still, safely paralyzed by the brainstem. A kind protection to keep you from acting out your dreams. It is a paradox, the mind alive in motion, the body still as stone. You drift through landscapes that shift like mist. Familiar faces appear, then vanish. Places you've never been unfold in perfect detail. Dreams are woven here, not random, but reflections of emotion, memory, and hidden desire. Scientists believe REM sleep helps balance the psyche, processing what the waking mind cannot. It's therapy in the language of symbols. You wander through these inner worlds, feeling them not as stories, but as sensations. The brain's motor and emotional regions flicker like constellations. The prefrontal cortex, the voice of reason, remains dim. That's why dreams feel both strange and truthful. The boundaries between logic and wonder dissolve. Every image has meaning, even if it can't be spoken aloud. Sometimes, a dream feels endless, though it lasts only minutes. The brain compresses and expands time, playing with memory like a musician bending sound. Each REM cycle grows longer as the night unfolds. The first may last only 10 minutes, the last nearly an hour. Between each, the body returns briefly to lighter sleep, floating up and down through invisible layers of consciousness. This flow, from light to deep, from deep to dream, is the architecture of sleep, a repeating cycle, perfectly designed. About 5 times each night, your brain journeys through these phases. Each one has a purpose: rest, repair, restoration, renewal. Like the phases of the moon, they turn in quiet symmetry, guiding your mind toward balance. You imagine it as a spiral rather than a ladder. You do not descend once and stay. You circle deeper and higher, again and again, until morning comes. Each revolution of sleep cleanses something old and restores something new. The brain moves through its own seasons. Spring for memory, summer for dreams, autumn for emotion, winter for healing. During these cycles, your body temperature dips and rises. Your blood pressure fluctuates gently, following the brain's slow rhythm. Even your breathing changes, syncing with the tides of neural activity. The body and mind communicate in silence, a choreography millions of years in the making. You are not merely sleeping. You are participating in a cosmic rhythm, ancient and precise. As dawn nears, the REM cycles grow longer and more vivid. Dreams become brighter, more narrative, filled with light and feeling. The body stirs slightly, preparing to return to the waking world. The brain begins to release hormones. Cortisol rising, melatonin fading, signaling that the journey is nearly complete. Yet the mind still lingers in the dream, reluctant to leave the soft horizon of sleep. You think of how miraculous this nightly architecture truly is, how it builds itself anew each night without thought or effort, how your neurons know when to slow, when to spark, when to dream. The brain, in its quiet intelligence, constructs this rhythm like a builder assembling stars. Sleep is not absence, it is creation in disguise. You float now between worlds, not fully awake, not fully dreaming. You can almost feel the brain's slow emergence. The reticular formation lights up like dawn spreading across mountains. The cortex brightens, the senses begin to return. The rhythm of sleep begins to fade, leaving behind a trail of memory, a whisper of dreams. And still, something in you remains there. In that inner cathedral, where the waves move in silence and thought becomes light. You sense that even when you awaken, the architecture remains, ready to rebuild itself when the night returns. You drift a little longer in that soft border, watching the last waves of sleep curl and dissolve. The mind, ever so gently, begins to rise toward morning. But part of you stays behind, listening to the slow, rhythmic hum of your brain's invisible design. The cycles repeating, endless, serene. The architecture of sleep, always building, always unfolding. Even as you drift quietly, even as you fade a little further into stillness. You imagine yourself standing at the edge of your own mind, where silence turns into color. The night feels soft against your thoughts, and the world outside has already dissolved into stillness. Somewhere within, behind the eyes, the right hemisphere of your brain begins to stir. It is not thinking in words. It is painting. It is dreaming. It is weaving patterns made of emotion, sound, and memory. You drift deeper into that space, the one where the right brain reigns. It feels vast, like a canvas stretched across the stars. There are no boundaries here, no strict lines, no logic pressing in from the edges. Everything blends. Images melt into sensations. Music flows into shapes. Colors whisper feelings you can almost understand. This is where the imagination lives. Not as a thought, but as a presence. You can almost see it working, this silent artist inside your skull. The neurons in the right hemisphere flicker with creativity, connecting in ways that the left brain cannot predict. It does not analyze. It feels. It takes fragments of memory, a face, a scent, a distant song, and blends them into something entirely new. This is how dreams form. This is how stories begin before words ever touch them. Science tells you that the right brain is more than imagination. It is also the keeper of intuition. It senses patterns that logic misses, emotions that words can't quite hold. When you look at a painting and feel something stir before you know why, that's the right brain whispering. When you find beauty in randomness, or meaning in a shadow, it is your creative hemisphere translating life into poetry. You drift deeper into this hemisphere now, floating through its shimmering networks. The parietal lobe softens the edges of space and form. The temporal regions hum with the rhythm of sound and memory. The occipital lobe blooms with light, not from the eyes, but from the mind's own inner vision. It is a living theater, replaying what you've seen and creating what you never have. The right brain does not rush. It flows like water. It understands through feeling rather than fact. Each neuron seems to move with a kind of music, a cadence that matches the rhythm of your heartbeat. It sees the world not in steps, but in wholes. The curve of a horizon, the feeling of distance, the harmony between shape and silence. You breathe in, and the colors shift again, softer this time, like dusk becoming dream. You imagine the right brain as a quiet painter sitting before an infinite canvas. The brush is made of thought, dipped into emotion and memory. With every stroke, it creates images you do not consciously see, but deeply know. It paints not only your dreams, but also your empathy. Your ability to see through another's eyes, to understand what words could never express. It is the part of you that feels without asking why. As you drift, you sense how the two hemispheres still communicate, even in sleep. The corpus callosum, a bridge of millions of fibers, glows faintly between them. Messages pass back and forth like lanterns over water. Logic sends structure. Imagination sends color. Together, they build the inner universe you call the mind. Even in dreams, they remain partners, opposites entwined in perfect balance. You begin to notice how sound feels different when processed by the right brain. It doesn't just hear, it listens. The tone, the pitch, the emotion behind the sound. These are its language. The left may hear words, but the right hears the meaning beneath them. It hears the sigh in a sentence, the smile in a silence. It knows the voice of the heart before the mind can translate it. Images, too, arrive differently here. The right hemisphere doesn't name them. It inhabits them. A tree isn't a tree. It's texture, color, shadow, and wind. A face isn't a person. It's warmth, emotion, memory, and presence. The right brain absorbs the world in wholeness, not in parts. It allows you to feel connected, not as an observer, but as part of the same vast picture. You drift through memories now, not as linear events, but as sensations suspended in time. The right hemisphere does not care about order. It remembers how things felt, not just what they were. The smell of rain from years ago. The flicker of candlelight on a quiet night. The laughter that still echoes, even though the moment is long gone. These are the treasures it keeps, glowing softly in the dark. As you move deeper into sleep, this hemisphere begins to take the lead. The logical mind, the left, grows still, its need for control fading away. The right takes over, shaping your dreams, mixing imagination with emotion. You see impossible landscapes, impossible skies, yet they feel completely real. You are not questioning, you are exploring. You are moving through the infinite art of your own consciousness. The right brain's creativity is not random. It is structured like nature itself. Fractal, patterned, rhythmic. Neural networks bloom and fade like galaxies forming and dissolving. Each thought gives birth to another, connected by unseen harmony. This is why art feels universal. Every human brain shares this rhythm. This instinct to create meaning out of mystery. It's written into the architecture of who you are. In moments of deep calm, you sense how closely this hemisphere mirrors the natural world. Its thinking resembles the flow of rivers, the spiral of shells, the growth of trees. It moves in patterns that feel organic, fluid, eternal. Even when you sleep, it's still drawing, sketching dreams in lines of light and shadow. The act of creation never stops, it only softens into stillness. Somewhere within this vast dream, space, music begins to play, not from outside, but from within the folds of thought. You don't hear it with your ears, you feel it. The vibrations travel through memory, emotion, and imagination. This is the right brain's purest language, rhythm and harmony. Scientists call it neural synchronization, but it feels more like a song the stars might hum to themselves. You float through this music, sensing its colors and shapes. Each tone seems to paint something across your mind. A wave, a light, a landscape. You can almost see how your neurons dance to it, firing in patterns that mirror melody. Creativity, emotion, and sound blend seamlessly. You are both composer and listener, dreamer and dream. The music belongs to you, yet also to something beyond you. The right brain also holds the sense of self, not the story of who you are, but the feeling of being. When active, it dissolves the boundaries between you and everything else. The sense of I softens, replaced by a quiet awareness of belonging. In deep sleep, this boundary almost disappears. You are no longer separate from the dream, or the stars, or the breath of the universe. You simply are. You imagine drifting further now, into the quiet center of your creative mind. The neurons flicker gently, like distant constellations. There is no rush here, no goal, no measure of success. Only the ongoing act of creation. Endless, effortless, serene. The right hemisphere continues its work, weaving emotion into memory, dream into art, thought into feeling. It is both the ocean and the painter of the waves. You think of how every dream you've ever had has passed through this hemisphere. Every melody you've hummed. Every moment of awe you couldn't put into words. The right brain holds the unspoken. The things you know without knowing how. It is your connection to wonder, to beauty, to the vast, living mystery of consciousness itself. As you rest, this hemisphere continues to glow quietly, painting worlds you may never remember. It dreams not for recognition, but for balance, to remind the mind that it is more than words and reason. It is light and motion and color. It is the infinite imagination of nature dreaming through you. You float there a little longer, somewhere between waking and sleep. The right brain continues to hum, its neurons shimmering like distant fireflies. You feel yourself dissolve into that glow, part of the same luminous canvas, painted by thought and silence alike. You drift with it, slower now, deeper, letting the colors fade gently into darkness, where imagination and sleep become one endless, flowing dream. You imagine yourself lying beneath a soft, infinite sky, one that seems to breathe with you. The stars shimmer faintly, like neurons flickering across a cosmic brain. The air feels quiet, as though the entire universe is waiting for you to listen. Somewhere inside this stillness, your mind begins to slow, your thoughts untangling one by one. You are no longer bound to the surface of waking life. You are drifting deeper into the quiet architecture of your own consciousness. You can almost feel the hemispheres of your brain working in harmony, their rhythms intertwining like tides. The left hums with reason, structure, and language. The right sways with feeling, intuition, and vision. Together, they form the rhythm of your being. A quiet dialogue between logic and wonder. Each breath seems to synchronize them, bringing balance to your thoughts and dreams alike. You drift through that balance, as though floating between two luminous shores. The balance between hemispheres is not static. It's a flowing, living rhythm, like the pulse of an ocean current. The left hemisphere analyzes, measuring, defining, labeling. Its world made of lines and precision. The right hemisphere feels, imagines, senses. Its world made of shades and flow. Yet neither can exist alone. Every thought you have, every word you speak, every emotion you feel, is born from their union. You are a bridge, and your mind is a sea between them. You sense this connection most clearly in moments of calm awareness. When your thoughts quiet, you can feel both hemispheres humming together, exchanging light through the corpus callosum, that intricate bridge of fibers deep within your brain. It glows softly, carrying information like whispers between two worlds. A spark from the left translates into an image in the right. A feeling from the right becomes a word in the left. They weave the tapestry of your perception, thread by invisible thread. Science has long studied this dance of hemispheres, though much of it still feels like mystery. The left, with its focus on time and order, gives structure to your days. It allows you to count, plan, recall, and reason. The right, with its timeless fluidity, reminds you to feel, to sense beauty in uncertainty, to find rhythm in chaos. The two hemispheres are not rivals, they are partners in creation. One draws the outlines, the other fills them with color. You drift deeper into that realization, feeling the quiet music of your mind. It is not the sound of thought, but of harmony, an unseen vibration between understanding and imagination. The left organizes the melody. The right breathes emotion into it. Every memory you hold, every dream you chase, is a duet between these inner worlds. You are listening now, not to your thoughts, but to the balance that holds them together. Imagine your hemispheres as two celestial bodies orbiting one another. The left, like the sun, bright, structured, steady. The right, like the moon, mysterious, reflective, ever changing. Their gravitational pull keeps your mind in motion. Too much sunlight, and your thoughts become rigid. Too much moonlight, and you drift into dream without direction. But when both share the sky, your consciousness becomes whole, warm and luminous, perfectly balanced between knowing and feeling. This balance also shapes how you move through the world. When you speak, your left hemisphere shapes words, while your right colors them with tone. When you listen, your left decodes meaning, while your right senses emotion. When you create, your left builds the frame, while your right fills it with life. Every act of art, invention, and empathy arises from their shared rhythm, an inner dialogue as old as thought itself. As you breathe slowly, you imagine those hemispheres glowing in tandem. Millions of neurons fire in harmony, like waves breaking in opposite directions, yet meeting perfectly at the crest. The electrical pulses ripple across your brain in slow, graceful cascades. Scientists call it coherence. You might call it peace. It is the feeling of everything working together, seamlessly, beautifully, without need for control. Your mind is not divided. It is a single landscape with two suns. The left illuminates detail, the grain of sand, the logic of numbers, the sequence of time. The right reveals the whole, the beach, the horizon, the feeling of the tide beneath your feet. One sees the path, the other sees the journey. Both are necessary, both are sacred. Together, they make you capable of understanding the universe, and also of feeling wonder within it. As you drift through this inner space, you notice how creativity depends on this balance. Too much structure, and imagination cannot breathe. Too much abstraction, and creation loses form. The most inspired moments come when both hemispheres trust each other completely. When logic bends just enough for magic to enter. It's in that space between knowing and dreaming that art, innovation, and compassion are born. Your mind, in this balance, becomes like a forest at dawn. The left hemisphere lays the roots and measures the trees. The right paints the mist, the light filtering through leaves, the quiet hum of life. You walk through that forest now, each step echoing softly. You can feel thought and imagination intertwining like vines, creating something both wild and precise, mathematical yet alive. The balance between hemispheres is also a balance between inner and outer worlds. The left helps you navigate the visible, the measurable, the factual, the known. The right guides you through the unseen, intuition, emotion, connection, and art. Together, they let you exist fully, grounded in reason, but open to mystery. You are not meant to choose one. You are meant to move between them, as naturally as breathing. You imagine now that you could watch your own brain from above, glowing like a galaxy. The hemispheres stretch like two luminous arms of a spiral, sending sparks of thought and feeling through the neural stars. The bridge between them. The corpus callosum is the glowing core, a conduit of light. Each spark of understanding crosses through it, becoming more complete with every exchange. This is the cosmic symmetry within you, the same balance found in galaxies, atoms, and tides. As your awareness softens, you begin to feel how this balance nurtures empathy. The left recognizes others as individuals. The right feels them as part of yourself. Together, they let you understand others, not only with reason, but with compassion. You sense it now, how your mind, balanced and awake, mirrors the balance of nature itself. Everything exists in duality, light and shadow, motion and stillness, reason and dream. You drift deeper, letting your thoughts dissolve into that symmetry. The hemispheres glow faintly now, like twin moons seen through gentle mist. They pulse in quiet rhythm with your breath. Inhale, exhale, left, right. Each breath connects them. Each heartbeat synchronizes their song. You are not thinking anymore. You are listening to the sound of your own equilibrium. Somewhere far away, your body is still, the muscles rest, the breath slows, but the brain continues its dance. Quiet, seamless, eternal. Waves of slow, synchronized activity pass from one hemisphere to the other. This is what deep rest feels like. The mind balanced within itself, floating effortlessly in its own gentle rhythm. You imagine floating through that rhythm, like a leaf on a mirrored lake. The left hemisphere reflects clarity, the surface, the stillness. The right reflects depth, the unseen currents below. Both are real, both essential. You drift where they meet, where reflection becomes feeling, and awareness becomes dream. The deeper you go, the less you feel the boundary between hemispheres. Their harmony becomes one luminous field. A slow pulse of intelligence and calm. You sense ideas forming here, unhurried, graceful, boundless. There is no need to divide them into logic or art, science or soul. Everything flows together, as it was always meant to. Your brain, your consciousness, is a universe in miniature. Stars of thought, nebulae of emotion, galaxies of memory. And like the cosmos, it depends on balance, expansion and contraction, order and mystery. You are both the scientist and the dreamer, the observer and the dream itself. The hemispheres glow one last time before sleep takes over. Their connection deepens, their dialogue quiets. What remains is peace, the steady hum of a mind perfectly balanced, perfectly alive, perfectly still. You feel yourself becoming that quiet hum, that soft vibration at the center of everything. You drift with it, deeper and deeper, until thought dissolves into dream, and dream dissolves into the infinite. You drift into a space where time feels slower, as though thought itself is breathing beside you. Within this calm, you begin to sense a quiet presence, a hidden guardian deep within your brain. It does not speak or shout. It listens, constantly shaping the rhythm of your emotions. This guardian is the amygdala, a small almond-shaped cluster that glows softly in the depths of your mind. It is ancient, older than your language, older than the stories you tell yourself. You imagine it as a flickering ember at the base of your consciousness. Its fire burns not with heat, but with awareness, attuned to every whisper of feeling. It watches for danger, for safety, for the subtle shades between. Long before your thoughts form words, the amygdala feels. It knows the quiver of uncertainty, the spark of joy, the ache of fear. In its silence, it decides whether to calm or awaken the rest of your mind. This small structure holds immense power. When you face something uncertain, it reacts before logic can intervene. It sends a pulse through your body, a tightening of muscles, a quickening of breath. It prepares you long before you consciously know why. This ancient reflex once protected your ancestors in forests filled with shadows and predators. Now it whispers through you when a voice sharpens, when a sound startles, when life trembles unexpectedly. You breathe slowly, and the amygdala listens. It senses the steady rise and fall of your chest. It recognizes safety in rhythm, peace in repetition. Slowly, its glow softens. The pulse that once flared begins to ease. The ancient guardian learns again that it is safe, that the world for now is still. Your body follows, unwinding, releasing what it held without words. Scientists have discovered how deeply the amygdala shapes memory. Emotional moments, joy, fear, awe, leave stronger traces in the mind. The amygdala marks them, etching them into your neural landscape. It tells your brain, this matters. Remember this. That's why you recall the feeling of a storm, the warmth of a smile, the quiet of a night like this one. The amygdala gives color to memory, turning experience into something that lingers. You imagine those memories now, gliding like lanterns across a dark lake. Each one flickers with feeling, not just facts, but the texture of being alive. The amygdala lights them, then releases them gently to drift across the waters of your consciousness. Some shine with love, some with wonder, some with loss. Yet all glow softly, reflecting the spectrum of what it means to feel. As you float deeper into thought, you realize how emotion and reason are not enemies but companions. The amygdala may stir your feelings, but the prefrontal cortex, that wise, patient part near the front of your brain, helps soothe them. When you breathe deeply, when you reflect gently, that higher region whispers back to the amygdala, reassuring it. It says, "We are safe. We are calm." Slowly, the fire fades to an ember again. This is emotional balance, not silence, but harmony. You drift through this quiet harmony now, like a leaf gliding along a tranquil stream. The amygdala no longer flares with alarm. It listens instead to the rhythms of calm thought. Your breathing becomes an anchor. Each inhale a tide of light, each exhale a wave of release. The ancient guardian rests, its glow gentle and steady. It watches, but without fear. Inside your brain, signals continue to move, a symphony of chemistry and electricity. The amygdala speaks in pulses of neurotransmitters, tiny messengers carrying emotion through neural pathways. They ripple outward, touching the hippocampus where memories are shaped, the hypothalamus where the body responds. It is like the way wind touches water, setting off a pattern that moves far beyond the source. Every feeling, every calm begins here, a single breath transforming into balance. You imagine the amygdala as a small temple deep inside your mind. The walls shimmer with memories of your life, each one glowing faintly. In the center, a flame burns, the symbol of your emotional awareness. Sometimes it flares brightly with excitement or fear. Sometimes it dims to almost nothing in peace. Yet it never goes out. It is the quiet heart of your inner world, the source of empathy, instinct, and care. Even in sleep, it does not rest completely. The amygdala continues to listen, softly scanning for signals, keeping you safe through dreams. That's why some dreams pulse with emotion, joy, anxiety, nostalgia. It is your ancient guardian weaving feelings into the stories of your subconscious. Every night, it translates your emotions into images, giving them form so your mind can understand and release them. As you drift further into this dreamlike calm, you can almost feel the amygdala soften beneath the waves of your awareness. It is still there, deep and steady, but it has learned trust. The rhythm of your breath becomes its lullaby. The sound of your heartbeat becomes its comfort. It glows faintly, peacefully, like a distant lighthouse seen through mist. Still guarding, still glowing, but at ease. Scientists say that meditation, gratitude, and calm breathing can reshape this ancient part of the brain. They reduce its reactivity, allowing more peace to flow through your nervous system. The amygdala learns from the signals you send it. Every time you choose calm over fear, gratitude over tension, it rewires itself. Tiny connections changing, strengthening, softening. You are sculpting your own peace from within, neuron by neuron, breath by breath. You imagine this rewiring like a forest slowly regrowing after a storm. New pathways sprout like green shoots in sunlight. Old patterns fade, making room for gentler ones. The amygdala, once quick to ignite, now listens before it reacts. It has learned to wait for the voice of reason, to trust the stillness of your breath. What once was fire becomes light. What once was alarm becomes awareness. You drift deeper, your thoughts like clouds dissolving into the night. The amygdala hums softly beneath layers of silence. It does not need to speak anymore. It has learned the language of calm, the rhythm of rest. Its glow blends with the rest of your mind, not separate, but united in a single field of quiet energy. The emotional storms that once rose quickly now pass like soft rain. The guardian watches them without fear, letting them come and go. You realize that this is what emotional intelligence truly is. Not avoiding feelings, but letting them move gently through you without resistance. The amygdala senses, but does not cling. It feels, but does not burn. It learns the wisdom of flow. You imagine the universe breathing with you. The stars pulse in distant galaxies, the same way neurons pulse in your brain. The amygdala is just one spark among countless others, a point of light within your cosmic consciousness. You are vast, infinite, connected. The guardian inside you is made of the same stardust as the galaxies above. You are the universe feeling itself, softly, endlessly. Now the amygdala glows faintly, barely perceptible, like the last ember in a campfire. Its warmth lingers, not in fear but in awareness. The emotional energy it once held has settled into balance. Your body feels light, your mind fluid. The old reflexes of fear and tension dissolve into stillness. What remains is peace, quiet, gentle, eternal. You float through this peace, not needing to think, only to feel. The amygdala is calm. The brain is balanced. The stars are distant but familiar. Everything hums in the same rhythm, slow and timeless. The guardian sleeps now, wrapped in calm. Its light blending with your dreams as they begin to unfold, soft and unhurried, carrying you gently beyond the edge of thought. You drift into the quiet, where thoughts move like soft waves beneath moonlight. Somewhere deep within your brain, another rhythm stirs, ancient, gentle, and endlessly alive. It hums not through words, but through motion. It is the dance of your neurons, the silent pulse of electrical storms that shape who you are. You cannot see them, but they flicker like constellations within your skull, connecting and reconnecting in endless patterns of light. Each neuron is a tiny living spark, a cell shaped for communication. You imagine them as glowing trees in a forest of thought. Their branches, dendrites, stretching outward to touch others. They whisper through chemistry, sending signals that leap across the small gap between them, called the synapse. Billions of these whispers happen every second, too fast to follow, too beautiful to measure. Together, they create your perception, your dreams, your sense of self. You feel them now, though faintly, the soft shimmer of thought as it ripples through the mind. One neuron fires, and a wave begins, spreading like wind through grass. Every spark leads to another, weaving an intricate fabric of connection. Scientists call this pattern neural activity, but it feels more like symphony. A harmony of silent electricity that never sleeps. Even as you rest, your neurons continue their quiet dialogue, keeping you alive within the gentle hum of awareness. You imagine drifting through this inner forest, each neuron glowing like a firefly. When one flickers, another responds, and soon the whole landscape glows in soft rhythm. These are your thoughts, your memories, your emotions, alive, intertwined, breathing together. You sense how your mind is never still, even in silence. It moves like the ocean beneath the calm surface, slow but unstoppable, ancient but always new. Neurons are delicate, but endlessly adaptable. Each one forms thousands of connections, learning and changing with every experience you have. When you learn something new, a pattern strengthens. When you rest, the brain cleans and reorganizes those connections, letting the strongest remain. It's as if the forest prunes itself by moonlight, clearing old paths to make way for new growth. This is neuroplasticity, the quiet ability of your mind to reshape itself, night after night, moment by moment. You breathe, and in that breath, billions of neurons synchronize for an instant. Their firing aligns with the rhythm of your inhale and exhale. The brain is listening to the body, and the body to the brain. It is not just chemistry, it's communication. You feel that unity now, the soft merging of thought and breath, electricity and peace. The neurons hum with life, and you float within their light. Each neuron carries messages through tiny electrical impulses. Action potentials, they are called. The charge builds like tension before a storm, then releases in a flash of energy. That pulse travels down the neuron's slender arm, the axon, until it reaches the synapse. There, chemicals called neurotransmitters leap across the gap, carrying the message forward. It's a bridge of light built in a heartbeat, then rebuilt again and again, endlessly. You imagine those sparks as stars being born. Each flash connects galaxies of thought, turning your mind into a living cosmos. The Milky Way above and the neural web within are mirrors of the same truth. Vast, intricate, and filled with light. Every idea, every memory, every feeling you've ever known exists within that starry expanse of neurons. You are both the observer and the galaxy itself, infinite and alive. There are many kinds of neurons, each with its own song. Some carry motion, commanding your limbs to move. Others carry sensation, the feel of cool air, the warmth of your sheets. Some process sight, turning light into images. Some remember, some dream. Together they form an orchestra, and in this moment, you are listening to their quiet performance from within. As you drift deeper, you can almost see them changing. The neurons rearrange themselves, building new bridges, dissolving old ones. They pulse in time with your heartbeat, glowing faintly with energy. This is how learning feels. Not a sudden realization, but a gradual illumination spreading through the neural forest. A memory forms, a connection strengthens, a pattern shifts. It is silent work, gentle but eternal. Even your emotions are shaped by these tiny fires. When you feel joy, your neurons release chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, shimmering messengers of contentment. When you rest, they whisper in GBA and melatonin, soft lullabies that quiet the circuits. The brain is not made of thoughts alone. It is a balance of light and chemistry, logic and rhythm, electricity and peace. You are both the spark and the calm that follows. In the dark stillness, you imagine floating above your brain, watching it glow. It looks like a living city, alive with movement, yet tranquil in its design. Each neuron lights up, then fades, like windows turning on and off through the night. Highways of axons carry shimmering signals between distant regions. Language, emotion, vision, memory, all communicating through invisible light. It is breathtaking, the quiet complexity that lives behind every thought you think. Sometimes, neurons rest. They do not fire constantly, for silence is part of their rhythm. During deep sleep, they move in slow waves, vast, gentle ripples of synchronized activity. The brain clears away the clutter of the day, restoring balance. It is in these waves that healing happens. Memories settle, and the neurons breathe. You feel that same rhythm now, as your own thoughts slow to the pace of sleep. The brain also dreams through its neurons. Random sparks weave into images, sounds, and sensations. A cascade of signals becomes a vision of stars, or an echo of memory. The neurons do not know the difference between real and imagined. They only follow the current. So the dream becomes real, for a time, inside that glowing network of possibility. You float within it now, half awake, half dreaming, drifting through your own inner cosmos. Your neurons, though countless, all share the same language. It is the language of rhythm, patterns, pauses, pulses. Like waves on the shore, or wind through leaves, they follow cycles of energy. Too much and they burn, too little and they fade. But in balance, they create thought, feeling, memory, and peace. The balance is fragile, but tonight, you feel it holding perfectly steady, glowing softly in the quiet dark. You imagine the neurons as threads of light, weaving a vast tapestry. Each thread crosses another, forming meaning where they meet. Your experiences are stitched into this fabric, every joy and sorrow part of the same design. Even forgotten moments remain in the weave, faint but present, shimmering at the edges. The brain does not lose, it transforms. It carries everything, softly folded within its light. And when you close your eyes, the neurons continue their work. They do not need your attention to shine. They move on their own, quietly shaping your dreams, your memories, your healing. Like the stars above, they do not sleep. They only change rhythm, glowing slower, deeper, more serene. You are safe within their gentle hum, their ancient, tireless motion. Somewhere inside, a single neuron fires and another responds. A thought stirs, then drifts away. The pattern shifts, like ripples spreading from a drop of light. You float through those ripples, unbothered. Serene, a small presence in an infinite sea of intelligence. The neurons keep glowing, each one a universe unto itself. Each one a reminder that you are made of energy and wonder. As you breathe, the neural light grows softer, dimming like the night sky before sleep. The patterns slow, their rhythm blending into stillness. The forest of your mind settles, the currents of electricity fade into whispers. You are not separate from this. You are part of it, carried gently within its flow. The neurons continue to hum, soft and steady, as you drift beyond thought. The light within you glows faintly, reflecting the vast cosmos it mirrors. You float in that silence, in that glowing stillness where the universe inside and the one beyond become one. The rhythm slows, and everything fades into peace. You let your breath fall into rhythm, slow and soft, as your thoughts begin to drift. The world outside fades into a gentle blur, leaving only the quiet landscape of your imagination. In this stillness, you begin to sense the hidden language of your own body. The secret conversation of hormones flowing through you like silent rivers of light. They are unseen, yet they shape everything. Your mood, your energy, even your dreams. You are a constellation of chemicals and rhythms, endlessly adjusting, endlessly alive. Imagine your body as a vast and peaceful ocean. Beneath the surface, invisible currents move in harmony, guided by an unseen tide. These are your hormones, molecules born of glands, traveling through the bloodstream like messages in bottles. Each carries a story, a signal, a gentle instruction. One tells your heart to beat faster. Another reminds your mind to rest. Together, they create the balance that keeps you whole. The journey begins in the brain, in a small but powerful region called the hypothalamus. It listens to your body like a conductor tuning an orchestra, sensing when to raise or lower the volume of life itself. From there, signals travel to the pituitary gland, the master gland, which releases its own messengers to command others throughout the body. These hormones ripple outward, connecting organs, thoughts, and feelings in a single seamless design. You feel their harmony in every heartbeat, every sigh, every quiet pulse beneath your skin. Cortisol awakens with the dawn, rising gently like the sun. It helps your body meet the day, lifting your alertness, sharpening your focus. It is not your enemy. It is the spark that reminds your mind to move, your eyes to open. When balanced, it feels like calm energy, like waves lapping the shore. When too much builds, it feels like stormy water. But even then, your body knows how to soothe itself, to find stillness again in the tide. As daylight fades, melatonin begins to bloom within you. Born in the pineal gland deep in your brain, it drifts through your blood like falling starlight. It quiets the neurons, softens the heart rate, cools the body. It tells your inner world that night has come, that it is time to rest. You can almost feel its whisper now, wrapping your thoughts in gentle fog, easing you toward the edges of sleep. There are other hormones that speak in softer tones. Oxytocin, the molecule of connection, flows when you hold someone close, when you feel safe, when you are kind. It binds you to others, not just in emotion, but in chemistry. Each moment of warmth, of trust, releases tiny bursts of it into your bloodstream. It's like a candle glowing in the dark, small but enough to keep the shadows away. Then there's serotonin, the steady hum of happiness that keeps your inner weather calm. It's found in your gut, your brain, your heart, almost everywhere you exist. It balances your mood, smooths your thoughts, and paints the world in gentler colors. You can't see it, but you feel it when you breathe deeply, when you walk beneath the stars, when you find peace in simple moments. It is not loud joy, it is quiet harmony. Adrenaline, meanwhile, is the wind that rises suddenly when danger or excitement appears. It races through your blood, sharp and bright, giving you strength, speed, alertness. But when the wind passes, calm follows. The parasympathetic system guiding you back to still waters. You realize that both storm and calm are necessary, each one balancing the other. Without contrast, you could never feel the peace that follows release. Your hormones work together like the shifting lights of dawn and dusk. Insulin guides the sugar of your blood into cells, feeding your energy. Thyroid hormones adjust your temperature, your heartbeat, your rhythm. Growth hormone repairs and rebuilds your tissues while you sleep, silently mending what the day has worn down. Even as you rest, the inner world hums with purpose. A factory of light, working without noise, without demand, only rhythm. You imagine these hormones as colors flowing through your bloodstream. Some are gold, quick and fiery. Others are blue, cool and slow. Some shimmer with silver calm. Together they form a spectrum, the emotional aurora of your being. You are not one mood, one energy, one thought. You are all of them, shifting like light through water, balanced through the invisible intelligence of chemistry. The glands that create these messengers are like small temples scattered through your body. The thyroid at your throat, delicate and butterfly-shaped, glowing with warmth. The adrenals resting atop your kidneys, pulsing with fire when needed. The pancreas behind your stomach, patient and precise. The ovaries or testes, holding the essence of growth and renewal. Each one listens to the whispers of the others, working together to maintain balance. You are a living symphony composed of chemistry and grace. When you feel peace, your hormones mirror it. The parasympathetic system opens the body's door to calm, lowering heart rate, deepening breath, relaxing muscle. Oxytocin and endorphins rise, weaving comfort into your bloodstream. The stress chemicals fade, dissolving like mist in sunlight. Every inhale sends a quiet signal to the brain. All is well. Every exhale lets go of what no longer serves you. The connection between mind and hormone is seamless. A single thought can release a flood of chemistry. A memory can raise your heartbeat. A deep breath can lower it again. Your body and mind are not separate. They are a conversation, a constant exchange of signals written in the language of molecules. You live inside that conversation, surrounded by it, carried by it. Even your dreams are shaped by hormones. In REM sleep, when you drift through vivid visions, adrenaline quiets, but acetylcholine glows. It helps the neurons weave stories, linking fragments of memory into fluid, surreal scenes. Growth hormone rises, mending tissues, strengthening your heart. Your body heals while your mind travels. The balance between body and dream is one of nature's most exquisite designs. You imagine watching this process from within. Tiny luminous droplets drifting through your bloodstream. They move in currents of liquid light, binding to cells, unlocking responses, shaping feeling and thought. You are the ocean and the tide, the current and the calm. The science feels like poetry when seen from this quiet distance. Chemistry transformed into rhythm, biology into song. Sometimes, imbalance comes. Stress stays too long or sleep fades away, and the harmony trembles. But even then, the system remembers how to heal. The glands rest. The brain recalibrates, and balance returns like the slow rising of the moon. It may take time, but nature's design is patient. Every heartbeat is a reminder that equilibrium is always possible, even after the storm. You breathe again, slower now, and imagine the hormones settling, drifting like dust through a beam of light. Cortisol softens, melatonin deepens. Oxytocin hums gently through your chest. The bloodstream feels like a river returning to still water. Every cell listens, responding in quiet gratitude to the peace you create. Somewhere deep inside, the hypothalamus watches, the ancient guardian of your inner balance. It listens to your breath, your temperature, your heartbeat. It hears the whispers of hormones returning home and adjusts the music of your body ever so slightly. You are not aware of it, but you can feel the calm it brings. The harmony restored, the rhythm renewed. Your body at this moment is a living constellation. Each gland, each molecule, each signal, a star in your personal galaxy. The hormones flow between them like beams of light, connecting, balancing, illuminating. You are both the starlight and the night sky, both the current and the stillness it rests upon. The flow continues, endlessly, silently, beautifully. You float within it, feeling the faint pulse of chemistry beneath your skin. It is not just life. It is the language of life, whispered softly in every breath you take. You are surrounded by harmony, shaped by it, sustained by it. And as you drift deeper into the night, the balance holds, the light softens, and the quiet hum of your body carries you farther into calm.